Okay, we got some leading lines on the bottom, the aisle down there.
Yeah, yeah,
Then we also got the chairs that's leading
yeah,
lines, the
yeah. Hold on, wait,
skyline.
hold on, wait. I'm right about what you saying. What you saying? Hold on. Let me get right. Let me get right. All right, you said leading lines down here. Tight shit, tight shit. Leading lines,
Okay, the
leading
chairs
lines.
and the skyline.
Got the chairs. Okay, okay. Hold on. Okay, okay. Sometimes the photo isn't as good as you think it is. Sometimes you break a few rules that you don't even know that you broke. And sometimes you don't use the sibling when you're supposed to be using the sibling. It might not make any sense when it comes to photography, but let me explain. One thing I teach inside of PNG University is that the composition rules do not work alone. They work best in pairs, such as siblings, cousins, and different groups of that nature. Each rule supports one another. So each rule supports another rule. And when you only use one rule, the image feels incomplete. It doesn't feel like a union. So today I want to break down what I call the composition and framing sibling pairs. And once you understand this, your images will get way more intentional and you will get a lot more surgical. And you'll be shooting with intention rather than just spraying and praying. So, for section one, we're going to go over the rule of thirds and leading lines. Just kind of talk about them very briefly to let you guys know that these are the things you need to be following. And these are different pairs that kind of go together and what to think about when you are shooting or out on location or even in studio sometimes. So, the first sibling pair is rule of thirds and leading lines, right? The rule of thirds gives your subject a strong place to live within the frame. The leading line tells the viewer how it even got there. Like, how is the viewer supposed to get there? It leads the viewer's eyes to a space specific to where you want them to look. So one image will lead and guide the viewer's eyes directly to that image, right? Or I mean directly to that subject or directly to that thing that you're trying to, bring extra attention to. So when you combine both of these, you're not guessing when someone, where someone's supposed to look. And as the viewer doesn't have to just like think about the importance of the image or gauge where is their eye supposed to go. It controls the journey of the viewer's eye. So if you ever place your subject perfectly but nobody's eye lands there naturally, then you're missing one of these siblings. You feel like you placed your subject You may feel like you placed your subject in the right position or spot, but the viewer is like, oh, where am I supposed to look? They went and looked over here rather than looking over there where you intended for them to look. And this is also another sign that you're missing one of those siblings. Another one is framing and negative space. These two are also sibling pairs. These are the next pairs of framing and negative space, which work together. Framing isolates your subject. It says, look over here. Don't look over there, but look right here. It frames the subject up using different elements to guide the viewer's eye inside of that frame. It's not a physical frame, but it's a metaphorical frame that's created by other outside objects, if you would say, right? Negative space gives the subject room to breathe. It allows them to have intentional space that creates a frame, and this is why these two are sister pairs and they work together. Together, these both create focus without any form of clutter, and it guides your eye without getting lost along the way. A lot of photographers frame their subject perfectly, but the crowd, right? And the crowd they crowd the frame so much to where it feels uncomfortable. So sometimes you can frame it perfectly, but then you crowd it with too much objects and things and not enough negative space to where it starts to feel uncomfortable for the viewer and the viewer does not know where to focus. Section 3, balance and symmetry. All right, so this is that third pair, balance and symmetry. Balance keeps your image from feeling heavy on one side and too light on the other. Think about it like visual weight. You want both sides to be balanced out. You want each side to have the same points. I go a lot deeper into this in PNG University. And if you want to join that, the link will be down below for you guys to join. We're already 2 classes in, so you're a little bit behind. So go ahead and get your assignments done. Meet me at PNG University. Symmetry creates harmony, right? So it's like, it also kind of creates that intentional tension when you break it. So if you break symmetry, now you can do that on purpose, creating intention to make it more balanced, which is why balance and symmetry go together. A symmetrical image may have the exact same thing on both sides, which is like a mirror, but if you were to have balance, you have the same amount of points on each side, which make it more balanced. If I have a pin on one side and a battery on the other, this image is still balanced, but it's not symmetrical. I hope you understand that. Together, they both make the image feel more stable and like it has more purpose, like stable on purpose. If an image feels awkward or uneven, then it's probably because it's either not balanced or it's not symmetrical. And you can use both of these together as sister pairs. Another one for the last core sibling pair is depth and layers. Both of these work together as well. Depth will separate your subject from the background, and layers will create foreground, middle ground, and background, which will make the image feel more alive and create more, range within inside of that image. And it will give you more things for the image to be able to focus on, for the viewer to be able to focus on as well. It helps make the overall image kind of come together as a union as well, and more unity overall. So together, these both will turn the photo, from being flat to more immersive, so where you kind of feel like you're living through the photo rather than just looking at the photo and it's a 2D image. Turns it from 2D to 3D. If your image ever feels like it's 2D, then it's probably because you're missing one of these siblings, right? So the idea of the cousin concept, this is also brought up in class as well. I'm just giving you guys like a review of what was talked about in class, so you guys kind of like, get to know it. We did go a lot deeper. The class was deep, bro. There was so much going on inside that class. So if you guys haven't joined, definitely go check that out. I have the recording up on PNG University as well for you guys to be able to go see. But this is the cousin concept. If some of these sister pairs can't work together, you need to call in a cousin to get them to work together. So here is where it gets a little bit more advanced, I would say. Sometimes the sibling pair isn't enough. That's when you need to call a cousin from another pair. An example of this is, let's say, example will deliver, for an example of this to make you guys more confident about it would be like the rule of thirds and leading lines is not working. Oh my gosh, like I can't get rule of thirds and leading lines to work, so I need to go ahead and add I need to add symmetry, or I might need to add balance into it to make it feel more immersive and not as flat, right? To make it add more depth. Framing is working, but the photo feels empty. Go ahead and add balance. So it may be something like that. So if you have the rule of thirds, and the rule of thirds and leading lines is working, but it's not making the image fully come to life, add depth, right? If framing is working, but you need the photo to feel not so empty like how it may feel when you're adding too much negative space, you need to add balance. Start adding elements to create balance within inside of that image, right? Symmetry may look, clean, but it feels a little bit stiff. Start to introduce some negative space, or maybe it's symmetrical, but it's too cluttered. Start to introduce some negative space to make that symmetrical image feel more balanced, right? So break the great composition isn't just about using every single rule. It's about knowing which rules stack together and which cousins go together when using them both together, right? So yeah, this is exactly how we break things down inside of PNG University and what we went over in our last class. We don't just talk about rules. We talk about how we can implement these things and how we can be more intentional as photographers. We talk about how this image makes you feel rather than just how it looks. How does it make you feel, and how to fix it fast? If you mess up and you're on the fly and you're shooting, you need to get something out really quickly. How can you do that quicker? So we talk about, being more intentional, being faster on the fly, getting surgical. And yeah, so if you want structured lessons, live breakdowns, live real critiques on your work, that's where it's happening in PNG University, right? So once you stop thinking about composition as a single rule and you start thinking about it as the relationships in which it has within these different sister pairs and these different sibling pairs, your photography will begin to level up. So stop forcing the rule, start stacking them with intention. Stop forcing one rule, start stacking multiple of these rules with intention. And if this helped you guys, make sure to leave a like and comment down below. Join PNG University on the Patreon link down below in the description as well. And I'll see you on the inside. Until next time, taxi. There will be rewards for those who are not late on their homework. There will be awards for those who are overachieving, because at the end of this course, the end of this class, at the end of this school year, you guys will be receiving certificates, which is why I asked you guys for your addresses. I'm not on no weird stuff. I'm sorry about that if it made you feel uncomfortable. But you will be receiving certificates. I do want to try to print out and send the certificates out to everybody. I don't want to try to do it for the higher achievers. I'll send you guys a physical copy of the yearbook, send you guys a physical copy of the certificate. But then everybody else, the low achievers, you guys just gonna get an email. And how do you feel about that? You don't want no email, right? So lock in, because the whole thing is this is going to be for you guys, all right? It's for you guys and your growth. I want to see you guys grow. That's the whole point of this, is to see you guys grow. I want to see you guys get better and see you guys grow. So I was grading a lot of different assignments, a lot of different homework, and a lot of you guys were dealing with the same type of stuff. A lot of you guys said that this year you guys want to create systems. This is one thing I noticed in a lot of you guys' homework is systems was one thing that you guys said a lot that you guys want to prepare for, that you guys want to be, worrying about, and that you guys want to kind of, put in place to help you get to that next level within your photography business. And I feel like it's overly possible. I feel like you're overly capable of doing so. And I just feel like you guys, have I don't want to say the word lack, but I feel you guys have a few things that you have yet to, figure out on your journey that will like kind of help you. But a lot of you guys too have told me that you guys have been doing photography for 4 or 5 years and haven't gotten any, pushback from what you guys have been doing. And I just feel like it all kind of comes down to the systems. But I feel like even before the systems, it comes down to the fundamentals. All right. So I feel like that is one of the things that are more important, is that it comes out to the fundamentals. A lot of people skip this step, which is why I say that for this first month, we're going to be focusing on fundamentals of composition and framing, because I feel like composition and framing are two of the most important things. I guess the most important thing, because it doesn't matter before lighting, before posing, before all these different things, the thing that makes you stand out and the thing that makes your eye look so much different or so much more unique to others is how you compose an image, right? It's how you compose a shot. So that is what makes you look so, it will make everything look so much, what makes everything stand out a lot more to a client and will make them want to book you or not. All right. So we have a few more minutes. A lot of people are still joining in. Damn, I feel bad. Like, y'all still joining in? Y'all still loading up? Like, y'all still joining in? Yo, what's up? What's up? Everybody that's on TikTok or on Instagram, we are live over on YouTube. If you guys want to watch on a bigger screen, this is the screen right here. But if you guys want to participate in the class, you need to be a part of the class or enroll into PNG University. PNG University, the link is in my bio. So check my bio out. You can go join that. Go join PNG University, become a part of the familia, part of the fam. And so that's the best way for you to go do that if you want to be a part of it. But aside from that, yapping, chatting will be done right here directly with the students of the class. All right. I'm going to pull up you guys' chat form so that I can see what you guys are saying. LOL. If you guys are talking in the chat. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Every visit. Oh, this is kind of tough. What? A little small little camera right here for us to be able to see each other. How y'all doing? What is the rule of thirds? The rule of thirds is when you place a subject in the center of the frame, you divide that frame into 9 equal sections, right? Placing the subject along these lines of that section. So the thing that I kind of try to like look at the most is something like this, along the sides of this. Like if I look at the rule of thirds, or I think about the rule of thirds, the thing that I'm thinking about is if this is a person, right? This is a head, right? This is a body. Real bad drawing skills. Don't do too much. I mean, I'm really good if I try, but right now I'm not trying, right? Don't do too much. This is a person. This is a body. Do some legs. See them legs? I actually did not do that bad of a job, right? Hold on. Wait a minute. Just chill. I was trying to make a zipper, but we ain't going to do all that. All right. Just like that. Boom. Hands. This is D right here, y'all. I should have made him look like a big back. It probably would have helped a lot more. There we go. And then like that. Bow. Taking a picture of a person. First thing I'm looking at when it comes to rule of thirds is where are they going to lay at on this plane, right? So with the rule of thirds, it divides it into 9. It's a 9 grid, right? So this right here is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. This is 8. This is 9. So it divides your screen into 9. Right? When it comes to composition and framing, however, I like to kind of focus on where do each of these points need to lay on a subject, right? So the points that I feel like are the most important. I hate that I can't see you guys' comments, man. Hold on, let me try to see if I can pull these up over here. Like it's kind of throwing me, bro. Like hold on, I want to be able to see you guys' comments, bro. Hold on, let me see. Can I join the call? I want to be able to join from over here because I'm about to break this. I'm about to break it down. I'm about to bricker. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to break it down. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. All right, let's see. Oh, we got some people that left out of the call. Hold on, let me see if I can add them in. View, admit all. Sorry, Hannah. All right, y'all are in here now. Bet. So I'm able to see all the comments on my other computer. So now this should help me out a lot more because before I could not see everything that was being said. Got it. How can I see these comments? All right, now I can see the comments right there. I didn't know we had Picasso for a teacher, bro. Be quiet. No, I just joked. Bro, just be quiet, bro. I'm not talking to y'all, bro. Just be quiet. So, as you guys can see, each of these points of this rule of thirds grid has something important about them. So the things that's important, like, I don't know why, bro, my screen is so goofed over here, bro. Like, my screen looks crap. Well done, bro. Thank you. All right. Back to the classroom at hand. All right. So the points that are most important here, you guys, that we want to lay our subject on they fall as show. I'm about to show you guys. I'm going to try to get this a little bit closer to me so I can actually like draw a little bit better. Yeah. So the points that are most important are going to be these lines right here. So this line, I'm trying to change this to red. There we go. This line right here is one of the most important lines when it comes to composition, right? these points right here are two of the most important points when it comes to composition, all right, and framing up your shot. So when it comes to rule of thirds, being that it divides the frame into an equal 9 sections, when you can place the subject along these lines, when placing the subject along these lines, it helps you create a more even, better overall image, right? So the first law of composition is rule of thirds. Well, my first law of composition is rule of thirds, all right? You want your eyes on the lines. That's what I'm about to say, yes. So if I were to draw this a little bit better and I actually drew, some eyes, you want to line up their eyes on these, whoa, bro, what? Y'all seen that too, right? Okay, I'm just making sure that bitch is tweaked out. All right, so these are their eyes. This is the nostrils, whatever. This is that face. You want to line that eye up with the lines. Why? Because it allows them to get just that much more. Look, I'm about to show you even framing. So if this is the whole frame right here, y'all should be shooting a 4x5 too. Do not shoot in a 16x9. You shooting a 16x9, bro, bro, just stop, all right? You need to be shooting 4x5 ratio. 4x3 ratio or a 4x3 ratio. Your camera should be 4x3. If you're shooting a 16x9, you're going to have to do a lot of extra 4x9. You're going to be doing a lot of extra cropping and expanding when it comes time to edit. And you don't want to have to do that, okay? All right, what'd you say? 4x3 ratio. Yes. Oh, shit. 9. See, look, bro. I'm hungry. Hold on. There you go. 4x3. Appreciate you, D. 4x3 ratio. So that is what you want to be shooting in, 4x3. Do not shoot in 16x9 or 9x16 because it will make the frame, it will quite literally cut the frame so much more. Like you won't have all of this. You'll literally cut it like this. So you'll only have this box right here if it's 16x9. And think about it. You see how much extra you're missing out on? All of this extra, all of this extra. So 16x9 really messes up your composition and your framing, and it doesn't allow you to get as much as you could be having. 3x2 is good, yes. 3x2, 4x3, those are good. 3x2 is good. 3x2 is good. Yes. So this is equivalent. So a 3x2 is equivalent to this, right? Because I'm about to show you why. Can I flip this upside down? Will it still do the same thing? Yeah, good, great. That's way better for me. All right, so this is equivalent to that. I'm gonna show y'all why. Because with what is going on? Why are you typing off of the screen? There we go. Why is this on the screen? Somebody help me. Hold on. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is the equivalent of a 3x2 because think about it. 3 plus 1 is what? 4. 2 plus 1 is what? 3. So these equal. These are literally equal to each other. Like, I'm sorry to try to create a damn a math problem for y'all, but they're the same. They're an equivalent of each other. You guys see it? You guys see that? If you add 1 to each side, it just scales up. So it's the exact same thing. They're both equal. All right, does that make sense? Don't use yellow. All right, shit. I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, y'all can't see this bit. 4. Hold on, I'm sorry. 4x3 and a 3x2 are all the same. All right. How do you shoot in that? I can change it on my camera. Yes. So you will change this on your camera. You'll change the ratio on your camera. If you're shooting in 16x9 or 9x16, it will mess up your shooting, bro. Like when you shoot, that 9x16 will, like how I did this green right here, it will be all of this right here, which is not what you want, bro. You don't want these problems. So all of this, and you'll be missing out, right? So this is a 9x16, and you'll be missing out on all of this extra that you could be getting, right? When shooting with this, when shooting a 4x3 or a 3x2 ratio, your camera will split each way. So you might have a 4x3, you might have a 3x2, right? Shooting like that. And you want to be going across your subject's eyes, right? So basically, so with that being said, also, that is a way to get them directly in the center, directly in the middle, to give them enough even headspace, which will be like up here. So this is like one of the most important lines, like I was telling you guys. These are the most important points right here because this will help keep your image even. So you can even line up your subject on this line right here and have their face hitting in between these points. I'm going to show you guys some images soon. And then also right here on these points, hit these images as well. These are a lot less used as much and are a lot less flattering because this is like a stylistic session or stylistic shoot. These are a lot less flattering because it's at lower angle. So if you start to, like, you know, put a person's head right here, you have so much more headspace up here. You get what I'm saying? And that's not what you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and go backwards. Make sure that you guys got that. I'm also recording this so it'll be saved for you guys as well, for you guys to be able to see as well. So go back. So like I was telling you guys, 3x2, 2x3, 3x2, 4x3. Sorry. All right. Did that make sense though? Did that make sense, y'all? That made sense? Let me know that made sense. Yep. Okay, bet. So with that, those are the most important points right there. So they split the grid into 9 different squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our next question here on top was, leading lines are used to what? Leading lines are used to add color? No. Create symmetry? No. To guide your viewer's eye through an image, right? Leading lines guide a viewer's eye through an image. How, you might ask? I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys another little diagram type drawing. Yeah, because like my skills are amazing, you know, fight with your mom. Hold on, I'm gonna show you guys. Argue with your mother. Let me show you real quick. So I'm gonna erase this real quick, and then I'm gonna show you guys how it looks right here, so you guys can see. Let's say, for example, this is a building, right? Ooh, y'all about to see some real good drawing skills. Bow. Ooh, bow. Look at this right here. Bow. Ooh, yeah, bow. This is a hallway. Ooh, bow. Oh wait, hold on. No, never mind. Hold on. Wait a minute. Just vibe. Bow, right? Bow. Ooh, yeah, bow. Y'all see this right here? Ooh, yep. Bow. This is a room. There's a painting on the wall or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Another little painting on the wall and things of that nature. Bam, painting. Painting. Boom. So leading lines help guide your image. So if I have a subject right here, little stick dude, the leading lines are subconsciously guiding your brain to view. You guys know where the leading lines are on this, right? Yes, I know you do. So right here, we're going to highlight those yellow. These are all the leading lines. These are all things that are leading your eyes to this subject, right? So this all leads your eyes to this subject, leads your eyes to this subject. Even these little lines right here lead your eyes to the subject. Every one of these just lead your eyes straight to this little stick guy. And you can see this a lot of different places as well. If you're shooting in a city, if you're shooting multiple different drawing skills are 0 out of 0, bro, you suck, bro. But if you're shooting in a city or something like that, you will see leading lines so many different places, bro. You can see the sidewalks, you might see the crosswalk, you might see, glasses, the glass panes, you might see the lining. So I'm gonna show you guys another example right here that it could be too. If you're outside, your stick figure is right here, right? Or your person, your human being. I'm gonna show you guys humans as well, just vibe. And let's say, for example, behind them, there's, oh, that's probably the wrong direction I should be drawing. I'm probably do like this. So there's like bushes behind them, right? And there's bushes, and there's bushes. Y'all, these are bushes, y'all, just vibe. These are bushes, right? These are bushes, just vibe. These are bushes, right? Just vibe. Bushes. This is how I learn, so just chill. Bushes. Right? Boom. These bushes are adding as leading lines as well. Let's say, for example, on top up here, you got a skyline and you got some clouds. Even the skyline is leading your eyes to your subject. This is 2 different instances where leading lines are being used, but the same instances where they still guide your eye to a subject. And this can help you quickly be able to find a place. This could quickly be able to help you find a place to set up someone, right? Let's say city, quick little vibe, right? Bam, boom, I'm fine like that. Boom, bam, cool like that. Bam, right? Boom, hold on, wait, bam, bam, boom, boom, boom. We got sidewalk, boom, sidewalk, he walking. Oh no, street, boom. There's the street right here. Bam, 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 street, bam, boom, buildings, bam, big buildings, bigger building. Ooh, nice type shit. Bam. There's another way that you guys can see it too, right? Bam, boom, big building, bow, just like that. Subject down here, maybe our subject is a car or a taxi, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. Our subject is a taxi, right? Boom, big old wheels, things of that nature, right? Big old taxi vibes. Beep, 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 ho, beep, 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 ho, right? Just like that. And now, where are the leading lines at now? They're easier to see, but they're kind of harder now because now the building's created as well. So now you can see right here, leading lines. At each of these points, create a line. Same thing down here. Each of these points, create a line. All right? Same thing here. Create a line. And don't let these buildings have windows on them. Windows fuck around and have windows? Oh, yeah. Buildings got windows. Your buildings, with the windows are leading lines as well. You know what I'm saying? These could be project buildings, regular buildings, whatever kind of building, wherever you live at. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where you live at. Stuff like that. Boom. And they're all making the subject important. Do you guys see this? Different versions of leading lines that all make your subject overall more important. Right? Makes them look like they belong. You know, makes them look like they belong. So this is another cool little vibe of a leading line. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next question. But does this make sense? You guys see the different versions of leading lines and how they kind of help in photography? Sense? Oh, y'all throwing thumbs up. I fuck with that. I didn't know y'all could do that. Y'all learning shit. Nice. Yes. Okay. So when you start to memorize small things like leading lines and rule of thirds, and you can mesh them together, you will start to see some shit. You'll start to see things, right? So now you're like, oh my gosh, rule of thirds, leading lines, the same shot. If I line it up right, what am I gonna see? I'm gonna see my rule of thirds, bro. With that same shot, if I line it up the correct way, I'm gonna see my rule of thirds. You see what I'm saying? Same thing over here. I line it up the same way in the same shot. I'm gonna see my rule of thirds in the same shot. So, especially obviously here too, same shot. You line it up. This is what you see inside of your camera. My rule of thirds. If you don't have the rule of thirds 9 grid selected on your camera, you don't have it enabled, figure out how to make it enabled on your particular camera. Everyone might have a different camera. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's camera might have something different on it. So it might not be able to be the exact same as you may think or you may want for it to be. Right? So we might not have the same settings. I might not be able to tell you exactly how to do it on your camera depending on the type of camera that you have. All right? But make sure that you figure out what your camera is and how you can make it fit better on your camera. So like how you can, enable the rule of thirds grid for your camera. All right. So on to the next one. I'm about to show y'all another question. Does that make sense though for everybody? Yes. Obviously, right? Yes. Those are 2 frameworks that we just mushed together. We just blended those 2 together. And the more that you do this on the fly, the more that you start to, understand what's going on behind the camera and why you're taking the shot, you can actually start to implement them in when you take the shot because you're seeing it so much, right? So now you can implement them into every shot that you take rather than, you just get out there, just press a picture, don't even know what you're looking at. But if you start to be able to see how you can frame these things and how things make sense and how they can actually fit within a shot, how they can actually, compose that shot, these are just 2 of the frameworks. These are only 2 of them. Just leading lines and rule of thirds, just 2 of them smushed together, right? Whether you're at a building, you're doing a portrait session with a client. Let's say, for example, that client is your client is showing off clothing. You're outside, you're doing a lifestyle shoot. This is really big for you lifestyle photographers especially, or on location photographers. These things come into play so much when you're outside and you're shooting on the fly. You don't have a studio. This is really when this composition and framing really matters because you don't have a studio. So you don't have a space that that's going to be the exact same every single time. You're shooting on the fly. You're getting caught off guard with shit. You don't know, where or what or when, why, how things are going to be set up when you go to a shoot. So you got to start to create something, which means you have to start making the shot rather than just taking the shot. So you have to curate that shot. All right, you guys? So I need you guys to understand that. All right, keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you guys another little vibe real quick because that could even work with the same way we did with buildings. They work with cars. If you got cars parked on the sides, you could use a car to lead a line to it. All right, so that is that. But yeah, so it's kind of like this flashlight that I have. As you guys can see, once the flashlight is open fully, you can get a lot more taken in. So like, for example, boom, you see the flashlight, it's on and it's hitting a lot more of me, right? The lenses work the same way. Speed lights work the same way. All these type of things are the same way. This month is not about lighting. March is about lighting. I'm sorry to just implement this, but the spread. So when you pull the thing and you compress it, it shoots a lot less. You push it out, it hits a lot more. So this is like the example of it being at 24 millimeters. 24 millimeters can see a lot more, right? But when you zoom in, it compresses it and it focuses on one point a lot more and it compresses everything down. So now, in order for you to get the same amount of stuff in your image, you have to back up way further, right? So in order for me to fully light myself, I would have to back up. I would have to back this light up so much further away from me to make this circle a lot bigger. You see how the circle gets smaller the closer I get to it? The circle gets bigger the further away I get, right? But if I go ahead and go back to 24 millimeters, it sees a lot more. But if I get closer, it'll get smaller. But if I zoom out, I gotta back up to be able to focus on more stuff. So inside of this circle is what we're focusing on, what we can see inside of our lens when it's compressed, right? When you push it, you go to 24 millimeters, you're focusing on, you see a lot more stuff, so you're not really focusing on one thing. This is what also creates a higher depth of field. This is what also gives you a more in-depth image, right? All right, y'all can see it, right? Yeah, lit, amazing. All right, so I think positive space would be the subject. Great question. Yes. Wait, who asked that? Wait, hold on. Wait. What are we talking about right now? All right, you said weird question, but is there a thing as positive space? There is. Okay, there are no. This is what I'm gonna tell you. This off the dribble. People are gonna tell you that there are rules, but there are really no. There's no real rules in photography. All right. So positive space, yes, that can definitely be a thing, and that can definitely be a framework that can make sense as well. Positive space would directly be the opposite of negative space. So the space that doesn't necessarily matter, if that makes sense, would be then now you have positive space, which is a space that, was used intentionally, right? So technically yes and no, because negative space can be used in a good way. I'm gonna show y'all. Negative doesn't mean bad. Negatives means empty, right? So negative means empty. So if you guys see this example right here, so if I break this into the thirds, a rule of thirds, I have my third going right here through her eyes. My second third was going right here, kind of like around her knees a little bit. Then my other thirds were going around here through this top part. Can I run that in there? There we go, just like that. And right through here, about like this. So this image right here, perfect image, I feel. I shot this, obviously. So can anybody tell me which, not which quadrant, LOL, but which of the squares is the negative space located in? Yes. All right, yes, exactly. Yes, right here. There we go. Exactly. That would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, somebody asked. So for the live streams, if you're seeing this live stream on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, if you see this on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, then this will not be saved. All right, you guys, the live streams, it will not be saved on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. You guys can just view, but you guys can't comment. So I won't be responding to any of your comments unless you're in the class, right? So you guys still get the free game because it's still free game, but you just can't be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get your questions answered, if that makes sense, which is kind of like fucked up, but it is what it is. I've been doing so many free lives. It's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Y'all know. All right, so negative space. Some of y'all were right, though, but there is negative space. Nothing going on in negative space. So this right here and here is negative space, right? For sure. Negative space, right? Everything else has something going on that has intention, that has purpose, that has reason. But this negative space was used intentionally because we also have leading lines at play here, you guys. We also have leading lines at play, right? We have leading lines, we have rule of thirds at play. These are all at play at the same time, right? So you can see these right here as well. If you look, you got them right here. Let me show y'all. You got leading lines aiming right to the image, right to the subject. It's an exact example, right? You have this right here, bush lining, right to the subject. Exact example. What else? Right here, straight to the subject. Exact example. What else? This stair right here, going straight to the subject. Exact example. What else? This right here, going straight to the subject. Exact example. I showed you guys some play images, right? Me drawing it up, but now I'm showing you guys the surgicality of it. All right? Y'all see it, right? So same exact thing. Even over here, guiding your eyes. This line right here, guiding your eyes. Even this right here, guiding your eyes. Everything is guiding your eyes to the subject. This line right here, there's so many, leading lines is one of the most powerful frameworks and fundamentals when it comes to composition and framing, bro, because you can literally this is just a beautiful image because it has literally everything at work here. All right, I'm gonna hide this image and go and answer another question, and then I'm gonna show you guys this image again and show you another framework that is also using right to the tracks on the right of the building. Everything is going straight to it, right? Everything is adding to it. Makes a lot more sense, right? Because you're able to see it. So you saw it as a sketch first, now you see it as a real life image now, right? All right, makes sense, everybody? Yes, making sure. Picasso with the camera. Makes sense, yes. Thaddeus says yes. Daniel, yes. Carolina, yes. Cool. Bet. Dapper, yes. Daniel laughing with emoji, emoji with rolling eyes. Okay, making sure. All right, so now When it comes to this negative space, it was used intentionally because I had to have the negative space in here in order for these leading lines to make sense, right? So if I didn't capture or have the negative space in here, and I chose to get a lower angle or come down more because I wanted to get more of her and just say F the sky, it wouldn't have made everything make sense. It tells a story. This negative space is intentional and it tells a story. All right. This negative space down here also intentional and tells a story because it lets us know that this is a grass field. This shit up high, right? There's a reasoning for that. It lets us know that it's up high. It's intentional, right? It's intentional. So another thing I want to tell you guys again is the next question was, right? Framing in photography means what? So framing in photography means using objects in the scene to surround and emphasize the subject. Framing. When you I don't want to say, I be trying to stick to like, not necessarily, I don't be trying to give out too much game. I don't be trying to say too much that's gonna like throw y'all off, because I don't want to like start talking about poses and then y'all be like, oh, and I start asking questions about that. This class is about composition and framing. Next month's about posing. But framing, when you start to sandwich or put your client into a position that you already saw. So for example, if my subject was not here already and I saw all of this and I was like, oh, I want to put you in between this tree and on the side of this and that, you just framed her. You put her into it. Now you have everything around her a part of that framework. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just makes it so much more like, bro, if you look at these, so for example, this creates framing, right? Highlighted that. The tree creates framing. This building creates framing. All of this frames your subject. Even the sky up here created framing to frame the subject, to make everything tell a story. This line right here frames the subject. I'm gonna start deleting lines in a minute, I got y'all. But this line right here frames the subject. It helps everything when it comes out to composition and framing. It's really just to help guide the viewer's eye, bro. Everything is guiding the viewer's eye. In one way or another, it's guiding the viewer's eye. Right? So it's guiding the viewer's eye to look a place that you as the photographer have intended for them to look. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and start deleting these, and I'm going to start telling you guys a little bit more about this next question that we have up here too. One moment. Deleting. All right. So next question is when shooting a portrait, why might you leave space in a direction that the subject is looking? Why? Because it will add negative space. It adds negative space and it adds visual flow. Oh my God, what's visual flow? Visual flow essentially is just another way to tell a story, to create a story. So when I left this space right here for this subject, right? Maybe like this right here, nothing really going on. The direction that this subject is looking is off this way, and there's a negative space. So visual flow basically is you put something or you place or frame your subject in a way to where they're looking towards something that gives story. So the first thing that we look at, because of leading lines and the rule of thirds, is at the subject. Leading lines, let my face to the subject, let my eyes to the subject. Rule of thirds grid, let my eyes to the subject. Now after that, I'm like, where's the subject looking? Where's she facing? Oh, she's facing off to the left. Oh, what is she looking at? The buildings, right? So it adds that visual flow in that story to the overall image, because, oh, what's she looking at? Oh my gosh, she's in the city. Now it adds a whole storyline to it, right? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. I'm gonna go ahead and go into another one. So boom, which composition technique creates a sense of balance by mirroring? The word mirroring was your cheat code, right? The word mirroring is what gave it away. Mirroring, right? Mirroring, right? Symmetry. So symmetry is essentially when you line them up the same way I was showing you guys before earlier with the having even things on each side. Symmetry is mirroring. So like kind of how we have this building right here mirrored on both sides. We have this right here with the bushes mirrored on both sides. It creates symmetry. But symmetry doesn't always have to be mirrored, right? Symmetry can mirror quantities, right? Or it can mirror points. So for example, if you're viewing this right here, let's say for example, I'm gonna go back to my other image again. I'm gonna show you guys that one because I got y'all, right? So symmetry, this is a symmetrical image right here. Hold on, let me show y'all. Dang, what's really going on for real? Hold on, wait a minute. Now, I'm talking about in it. Hold on. All right, so symmetry can be done in multiple different ways. So you guys can see right here, another image I'm gonna show you guys right here for you guys to be able to see. Here we go. Right here, symmetry. I lined my subject up in the middle, right? Everything else in the background is different, but the thing that's the same in this image right here is this gate, right? So I have her symmetrical inside of the framing of the gate. I framed her with the gate using composition and framing, but one of the laws of composition and framing is symmetry. I put her in the middle of this gate. Symmetry. Even though everything outside of the gate or behind the gate is different, right? And everything behind the gate like taps into those other frameworks or those other composition fundamentals, right? You got, oh, I didn't even get to that one yet, but I'm gonna say middle ground, foreground, and background. I'm gonna show you that in a minute, right? So it creates that extra depth in there because you have everything else is going in the background, but you're focusing on the symmetry of the gate. So let's go to the next question. I'm gonna answer that, and I'm gonna go right back to this because this next question answers what I was about to say without getting too ahead of ourselves. All right. So what does shooting through something, right, usually add to the photo? If you're shooting through something and seeing something else, one of the photographers in here that did this very, very great is LJ. So let me go ahead and find his Instagram so I can show you guys, because LJ did a very great job at this exact fundamental right here. And let me see. And I was looking and I seen his page and he did a very, very, very great job at this. So as you guys can see right here, this is LJ. He did a great job at creating this depth within his image, right? Foreground, middle ground, background. He created depth. Foreground is what? What's foreground, you guys? What in this image is the foreground? What is the foreground? Foreground. What's the foreground in this image? In this particular image right here, what is working as the foreground? The hoodie. Yes. What is now the middle ground? What is working as the middle ground of this image? What is working as the middle ground of this image? Right? The subject. There you go. The middle of the shirt, I kind of see the vibe of what you're going for, but the shirt as a whole, the shirt is one item, is one thing. So the shirt at the beginning, the hoodie at the beginning is that foreground. That middle ground now is LJ, right? Now that background is what? What's working as the background? Here there's multiple backgrounds to tell one story, but what's the general background that you can obviously see? What's that general background that you can obviously see? The red and yellow back, yep, the red and yellow. Yep, there we go, Gary on. All right, so another example of that is I'm going to show you guys one of my images to be able to show you guys how I layer my subjects as well. That kind of also helped me when it comes to, you know, doing certain things like this. Like that's layering my subjects. So another thing that kind of creates that added depth, if that makes sense for you guys to be able to see. So let me go ahead and see which image I want to do. I'm probably going to use this one. It's a very simple way of depth. For anybody that's a lifestyle photographer, this is a good way to create some depth with your images and with your clientele. I'm gonna show you guys. All right, here another example I'm gonna show you guys. Then I'm gonna show you guys another example that we have. I have to go download that image from one of our members. Let me see. Where that image was dropped at. It was put somewhere in here. Don't know where it's at, but it's somewhere in here. Important. Somewhere in here. It's in the content class of 2026. Yep. Okay. Bet. Let me see. Download. How do I download this image? There we go. All right. So you guys are able to see that. So that was there. WLJ. Then we're going to see right here. This is another example. This is a very simple one for anybody that can do. You guys got stairs anywhere. What's the foreground? What's the foreground, class? The rail, the stairs, the bar. Yes. Yes. What's the middle ground? This is layered, right? So this is layering. There's multiple foregrounds, multiple middle grounds, multiple backgrounds. There's multiple layers to this image. So there's a lot of right answers. The subject, yes. When you're doing foreground, middle ground, background as a sandwich method, you're sandwiching that subject. The subject should always be the middle, right? Whatever you're focusing on should always be the middle. The subject, as in the person, as in the human, is not always the subject. You get what I'm saying? You could have a person in the front if you're doing a wedding image or something like that, and you're really focusing on whatever's in the back, like the venue. Maybe you're focusing on the people in the back, or you have the husband in the front and the wife in the back, and you're focusing on that. You're layering it like that. That's another foreground, middle ground, background layering. All right? It's another way of layering. It's another way of layering. So right here with this exact example that we have right here, before I show you guys the next image, is right here. You have this bar, foreground, right? Can I drag this over here? Bar is foreground, right? You have my subject, which is middle ground. Hey, girl, you the middle ground, girl, purr, right? And then you have that background, which is everything back here behind her. You got these rails, all of this behind her. What's crazy about this is, though, is every single fundamental that we just went over, every single law of of composition, every single rule, I call them rules because I feel like law is just too definite. You can't really change laws, but you can change rules. So every rule of composition and framing is being used in this one image. You got foreground, middle ground, background, right? Subject, middle ground, background is like green. You got leading lines. You're right. See, boom. Leading lines and rule of thirds, right? Everything is in here. And then you can even try to like say that you got some form of negative space because this up here matters, but it really don't matter as much. All of this right here is kind of like, it kind of like do and don't matter at the same time. Like all of this is just blank. Like it's just kind of plain. So like it kind of matters, but it kind of don't at the same time, right? You have your leading lines going straight to your subject, straight to your subject, straight to your subject. These are easy right here. There's so many leading lines in this image right here, bro. Every one of these floors leading lines. Everything is like, you guys got to like, bro, when you start shooting more and more and more, you start noticing a lot of stuff, bro. Like everything is a leading line. Everything guides your image and guides your eyes. Like ever since I started learning more about like photography, getting deeper into it, I can't even watch a movie the same anymore. I can't look at any magazine post the same. I can't go to the mall and look at any of the promotional items on the window the same anymore, right? I look at everything differently now. Everything's being viewed and looked at differently now. Before it was like, you know, I was oblivious to it. When you don't know about it, you know what I'm saying? You know how they say you don't know better, you won't do better. But when you start to know better and get to know better, you will do better. When you start to see it a lot more, you will do better, all right? Is the building filler space? So it is filler space, but we would call that negative space. The space that doesn't really matter to be there or to not be there, but it's intentional. So the building was negative space. I added it there because I saw that a little bit of reflection. I like that I could see that it would tell more of a story. So for example, you can see it right here. If you look at it, you can see that there is this little building right here that kind of adds to the story of it. There's these little plants right here that kind of adds to the story of it. And there's just little stuff right here in the background that I just felt like, you know, could be necessary or could give some storyline or intention to it, because even this kind of gives you a little peek at the location that we're at. Like just everything in the background still has intention. It's in there on purpose. And if it wasn't, it wouldn't be there, right? So another example of another example I'm gonna show you guys of a good example of one too is one right here. So this one right here, I can't draw on, I don't think. I was trying to draw on it, but it wouldn't work. I have to download it. So right here is a good example of a symmetrical and balanced image. This image is both symmetrical and balanced at the same time. So if you look at this image right here and you say, you cut this down the middle, let's go ahead and dot line this bit, boom, right? So the symmetrical, we're not looking at leading lines right now. Obviously y'all see those. Obviously y'all see rule of thirds, cool. We're talking about symmetry and balance like he just said, right? So symmetry shows what? Buildings, symmetrical. What? Bushes, or trees, whatever the hell you want to call it, symmetrical. Grass, railings. That's symmetrical. Now, when it comes to balancing an image, you want the same amount of points on each side. Oh, I don't want to say this next part because I want to confuse y'all. I don't want to, wait, sound effects, 10 out of 10? I don't want to confuse y'all, right? So, I don't want to confuse y'all. All right. So, tree is 1 point. This one has a tree, which is 1 point. Right? This is balance. This one has a group of buildings, which is 2 points. Right? This has a sky, negative space, which is 3 points. Right? Y'all get that? Y'all understand that? Makes sense? Cool. This one has railings, which is 4 points. And it has grass or whatever, which would be 5 points. So this is 5 points on the left side. To make sure that it's balanced, I need 5 points on the other side. I'm going to show you another image on top of this one to help y'all out. This is just, y'all probably like, what the fuck? This is how my brain works, bro. I'm sorry, but I'm not at the same time. This is how my brain works. So when I'm looking at an image, I'm looking at all 7 different rules of composition and framing, and I'm thinking in my head, which one applies right now at this time? So when you start to get more and better at the different, you know, these different fundamentals and rules of composition and framing, you'll be able to use them a lot faster on the fly. So I'm able to do this so quick because I'm like, okay, boom, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I see like three things on this side, 4 on that side. All right, cool. Same thing over here. Boom, we got these stairs right here. Stairs, regardless if it's the same thing as what's on the left or not, it's a point. A point can be an object, an item, or a thing. All right, these are points. So balance is based off of points. For example, you have a pendulum, right? You have a pendulum or some shit. Hold on, y'all probably like, what the hell are you talking about, right? Just vibe. So y'all got a pendulum. Bam. I got a pen in one hand, no pen in the other hand. This ain't balanced. I got a pen in one hand and another pen in the other hand. This is balanced. They're not the same damn pen, but they're both pens, so they're balanced, right? Or they're both an item, right? Not even necessarily that they're pens. They're an item. It's a thing that makes the image balanced, regardless if they're the same thing or not. It's 1 point here for an item, 1 point here for an item. If I have a microphone in this hand and I have a pencil in this hand, this is still balanced. It's not symmetrical, but it's balanced. If I have two identical pens, which I don't think I do, if I have two identical pens, it will be symmetrical, right? But being that I don't have two identical pens, it's not symmetrical, right? So now look back at it again. Once again, now we have the stairs, which is 1 point. So now I got 1 point. I'm still looking for 4 more points. I got these trees. Oh, that's 0.2. I got these buildings. Oh, that's 0.3, right? I got this sky right here. That's 0.4. And I got grass all up in whatever this is. And that's 0.5. So that makes it even. You know what I'm saying? Or you even want to count the small buildings right here. That could be 0.5. This still makes it even. If you're not able to make it symmetrical, which this image is not necessarily symmetrical, if you can't make it symmetrical, then make it balanced. All right? Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I'll say it again. I don't care. Just let me know. If it don't make sense, be real. Don't lie. I'm trying to actually help y'all. I don't want y'all to lie and say yes and then it doesn't. All right? We got 2 thumbs up. Anybody else? Does it make sense? What question do y'all have? Y'all are typing right now. Somebody's typing right now asking a question. Because I don't see yeses in the chat. So somebody has a question, must be. So what's going on? Let me know. Ask. Y'all can ask out loud if y'all want. If y'all want to ask out loud, go ahead and ask. I want to hear y'all voices. Come on. Lock in.
So points are just different aspects of the side of the photo, like sky, building.
Yeah, it can be aspects or objects. So yeah, aspects, items, objects. They don't have to equate or anything like that. They don't have to be the exact same thing or anything. Like they are just points that match on an image. So for example, if you're shooting in a gym, right? If you have a Stairmaster on the left and a treadmill on the left, you need 2 other machines on the right to make it a balanced image. So if you want it to be balanced, because sometimes it could be off balance. You could have your subject on one side of the third, right? And you could have those machines on the other side of the third, and that still is following the rules of composition and framing. That's following the rule of thirds. But in this exact example, when we're talking about balancing, it could be points. So if you're shooting in a gym, you're doing gym photography, maybe you have 2 machines on one side, 3 on the left. That's not balanced. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 on the left, 2 on the right. That's balanced. Maybe you got a mirror on the left, and that mirror acts as an extra one, because in your image, when you're looking through that mirror, you see the other side. You know what I'm saying? So that could also be another version of it being balanced. That makes sense, Dap?
Yep.
All right, bet. Anybody else got a question? If y'all want, come to say, I want to hear y'all voice and shit. I don't feel like I'm here alone. Anybody else that's good? Y'all good? Y'all good? Let me know. Let me know. Don't leave me dry, bro. Like, are y'all dead? Like, what's going on? Don't leave me high and dry. Like, somebody type shit. There you go. All right, so on to the next thing. I think I said I wanted to show you another example of a balanced image. So I'm going to show you guys another example of a balanced image. I got y'all. See if I can find another image that's balanced as well. That's like more different, but still is balanced because of that same reason. That's like, I want something that's more busy, but still balanced, right? So if you have people on one side and cars on the other, that's still balanced. You might have 5 people on one side, 3 on the other. If they're a group of people on each side, it's still balanced. You don't got to be the exact number of people, bro. You don't got to be like, 13, 12, 14, 6. No, you just be like, people, group of people, balance. That's it, all right? I'm going to find another image. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to let y'all analyze this one. Let me see. Boom, right? See, I can see this image. Cool. Y'all going to tell me, right? Whoever want to raise their hand and let me know which fundamentals are at play and explain your damn self. So who's ready to go? Somebody who didn't go yet. And if y'all don't want to go, then somebody else. I can't force y'all to go and shit. So, I mean, can I though? Probably. I don't know. Oh, talk your shit, Nayo.
Okay, we got some leading lines on the bottom, the aisle down there.
Yeah.
Then we also got the chairs that's leading lines.
Yeah. Hold on, wait. I'm right about what you saying. Hold on. Let me get right. All right, you said leading lines down here. Tight shit. Leading lines.
Chairs and the skyline.
Got the chairs. Okay. Hold on. Okay. And then we got the skyline. Yep, exactly. Even though it's going past them, it's still leading lines, you guys. Skyline and that water line. There's a double right there. What else? Somebody else. She gave me leading lines. Somebody else give me something else.
Say negative space on the top where the trees at.
Yes, good shit. Negative space. What else? Somebody else. Everybody wants.
Rule of thirds.
You said rule of thirds? Yep. Bet.
Yeah, because you're on the grid.
Forever on the grid. Forever on that grid. I don't know when I'm not using that grid. That thing stuck like glue to my I need to get another tip for my my what's the name? I got this my pen starting to scratch the screen, bitch. All right, but yeah, boom, rule of thirds. Somebody else, one more. There's one more. There's every different rule is in this. So we've only gotten 3 so far. I'm using a different color for each. So every single rule is being used. So y'all already got rule of thirds. Y'all got leading lines. Y'all got negative space. What else? Lock in.
Balance.
Balance. Yes. How? Why? Tell me. What are the balance points?
All right. The sky on the left and right. On sectors 4 and 6. The walkway on 7 and 9.
Elbows and shoulders. Knees and toes.
Beat me to it by a second. Yeah.
Bet. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. And even if you wanted to just do it like this with these 3, you got sky. You still got sky 1. You got people on this side. That's 2, and that's 2. You got walkway. That's 3. Don't think you have to have more than 3 each time. Being that it's a 9 grid, you really only got to have 3 that hit each point on each side. If you have 4, 5, 6, 7, that's cool. It adds to it. It's fire. But being able to hit things that are that match up, like being 3. If it's just 2, like one thing on one side, other on the other side, it's still balanced. But having the 3, I don't want to say makes it. I don't want to use the word dynamic, but it kind of adds more depth to an image to have more things that layer it. You know, that creates that layering. All right, we have one more thing at play, you guys. So balance, and what else? What else is in here? We got balance. He just gave us balance. Rule of thirds was given, right? We got leading lines that was given, right? Negative space was given. What else? It's the last thing. It's not hard.
I say symmetry.
Symmetry, and then so symmetry is LJ, so that's another one. That's a good one because it is symmetry. So now, and then we have Gary on. What you about to say? Go ahead. I know what you're about to say.
Oh yeah, I was going to say depth as well.
How?
Like with the foreground, being up close with the rose petals, and the subject being right behind the sidewalk.
And then so that's the foreground. What's middle ground? What's background?
Middle ground being the subject, the lady, the flower. The guy, and then the background, of course, the trees, audience, whatever's in the distance there.
So this one right here is a good example of layering, guys. When you guys be like, oh my God, what's layering? Damn, Tyson, what you talking about? Layering right here is a good example because layering is when you use depth, as in foreground, middle ground, background, multiple times in one image. So there's multiple foregrounds, multiple middle grounds, multiple backgrounds. For example, let me explain. Right here, if you're only looking at the subject right here, then the foreground, middle ground, background, foreground, flowers. Damn, that shit too big. Hold on, wait a minute, just vibe. So the foreground is just the flowers. Middle ground is the subjects. Background, everything that's going on behind them. That's one layer of the cake, right? Foreground, middle ground, background, one time. Now we got foreground, middle ground, background a second time, which is going to be foreground, which is these subjects right here are in the front, the foreground of it, right? Middle ground, these humans back here, these humans back here. Background, everything else happening back there. So this is layering. These are 2 different sets of foreground, middle ground, background. Because if I were to crop this image and only focus on them, I got foreground, middle ground, background here still. I left it open like this, I got foreground, middle ground, background here still. So that's layering. So that's layers. That's when you start to peel back those layers, create depth, right? Inside of your image. Okay, you guys? That's understand it? Y'all got that? It makes sense? So everything here in this image was at play, which is crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Everything was at play here. If you guys want, go ahead and send an image into the chat, into the our text channel on Discord, and I'll break down one of your images as well. I did one of Vipers. I'm gonna go ahead and do somebody else's they added in there. The content class 2026. Go ahead, drop an image in there. I'll give y'all a few minutes to do so. And then the last 10 minutes I'll leave for like open-ended questions before we end up class. I'm gonna ask questions and I'm gonna let you guys answer. Just answer like out open-ended, and I'm gonna let you guys ask me questions back. It's gonna be the last bit of class before we end up. All right, D sent an image. I'm not gonna critique them. I'm gonna just go down. I'm gonna just go through. I'm probably gonna critique D. So I gotta get on his ass. I ain't gonna lie. But let me know. Let me know, man. Go ahead, send them in there, y'all. Keep sending them. 85 millimeter. Yeah, big W. Big W. Love y'all, YouTube. If y'all have not already join the Patreon, bro. join the Patreon, text in the main chat and the Discord so I know I can add you guys to the thing. Let me know when you guys have joined the Patreon so I can add y'all, all right? Let me know when y'all have joined so I can add y'all. Boom, boom, boom. I gotta see when they get, so I get what classes I can skip. That's actually crazy, bro. But yeah. All right, TikTok. I mean, not TikTok. TikTok is over there. But all right, YouTube. I love you guys, man. I love you guys so much. I'm about to go ahead and clock out. I'm about to play the game, get a little bit of steam off before I go to sleep. Until next time, taxi. Make sure y'all join the chat, all right? Join the chat. All right, Patreon. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for tapping in. I will continue to be doing these classes every Tuesday and Wednesday. You guys, these are my slower days, so they're easier for me to be able to do classes more consistent at times. I make sure I do some earlier and stuff like that to help people who have, who have a different time schedule. I feel bad because some people are starting the class at 4 a.m. That's really bad, so I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do a little bit better, get a little bit earlier some days. But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. Ask any questions that you guys have down below. Until next time, taxi.